I call upon all nations to do everything they can to stop these terrorist killers. Thank you. Now watch this drive.
What does a fascist mean?
It means you are a far-right authorization ultra-analyst.
We're joined now via hologram by Will I Am.
So they have a job and they have confidence that they can get another job if they need to. So that's a really tough nut for the Fed to crack.
I thank you. The A-team thanks you.
You're never going to get away with this. You'll have a union in this valley over my dead body.
That's exactly what I was telling our union members this morning.
Now watch this drive.
How do you guys feel about Shark Tank? Have you watched it?
I've probably only seen 10 Shark Tank contestants in my entire
Any
life.
memorable ones?
Well, there's these two guys from Traverse City that went on, and they have like this snowboard light LED kit. So the other reason it's memorable is because they're from Traverse City, Michigan.
Yeah.
So that's about it.
I've seen, I think, most Shark Tank pitches in the last week. I was vacationing in Florida, and every night I fell asleep to the sweet sounds of Mark Cuban and company rejecting, tearing down, eviscerating many young or older American entrepreneur. And I gotta say, it is not my new guilty pleasure. I'm addicted to it. I'm obsessed with it. And I would like to take us to Shark Tank.
With what exactly?
With our company.
Could we sell Shark Tank a Shark Tank?
That would be interesting. Maybe we're like an aquarium company, but I'm being serious.
Yeah.
I want you guys to give me your We Do Crime Shark Tank pitches together, both of you, unscripted. I'm the shark. Hello, it's me, Mr. Wonderful. What do you got? What is it? Why should I invest in it?
I'm just gonna steal your tweet, which is 80% stake in the
hello, sharks.
code
I'm
to-
seeking a $10 million investment for 100% equity in the 4-digit code to disarm the device I've placed on the table in front of you. That's my bit
perfect.
for if the Joker went on Shark Tank.
Yeah, that's awesome.
I'm being serious though, like because every time I was watching them, I would put myself in the shark shoes. I put myself in the entrepreneur shoes. I go back and forth. One of my favorite things about the show is that everyone in that room is very dumb. Sometimes though, just because it's not so much a Shark Tank as it is one of those fun, the hurricane tubes that you go in and they put money in it and you try to catch as much as you can and like stuff it in your pockets. It's more that than an actual like aquarium with sharks in it. So sometimes a person is marginally less dumb and they're able to grab $20 million. The entrepreneurs and the sharks equally dumb most of the time on equal footing.
Is Kevin Hart
usually
still on it? Is he still
Kevin
on the
Hart?
Sharks? Kevin Hart, yeah, he was a shark.
Oh, I missed that season.
I thought that was
sounds
more
awful.
recent. That's one of the 10 that I've seen. The contestant, do they call them contestants? I don't even know what do they call them?
The
Inventors?
Fish food.
Feed?
The feed.
the shark, the what is
chum.
it? Chum.
What do they-
Yeah, that's
what do
it.
they
The
eat?
chum.
I don't know what they call
fish.
them. They call them
Chum. So the chum.
Chum.
But yeah, this guy came on and he was basically dealing with black focused body product like lotions and stuff like that.
Okay.
And Kevin Hart was the only one that understood anything the guy was selling.
Oh, that is pretty interesting.
So he was like all in, but he got everyone else really excited because it's like, oh man, this we're missing out on this opportunity. It's like that big disparity between non-white America, basically, or non-white people in general, not even America. That funds actually exist outside of white, 25-year-old white men.
Yeah, and then comes
Yeah.
the exploitation and the co-opting of all those.
Yeah, as soon as they start hearing the dollars that Kevin Hart is throwing around and the the equity stuff and everything, they're like, you know what?
Suddenly
think
we want it.
Actually,
what's the guy?
I've thought about it.
What's
What?
the FTX guy? Kevin Leary?
Sam Bankman-Fried?
No, the guy who was like a spokesman for FTX. He's on.
Was that Kevin O'Leary? The Mr. Wonderful?
Kevin O'Leary.
I
is
did not
it?
know
Kevin
that he was a spokesman for FTX. We need that
he was.
clip.
He was the celebrity spokesperson, along with whatever that football player and
Most of them. Well, Tom Brady, I heard, actually
Tom
lost
Brady
like
and
$45
everything.
million.
But
which is awesome.
Kevin O'Leary was like all the way in commercials or whatever for
That's so cool.
FTX, and Yeah, he's on Shark Tank, right? Or
Yeah, no,
still
he's
is,
like in
or
the middle.
was?
He's been there, I think, since the beginning.
Yeah, he's like one of the core guys. So when
He's
Kevin
got that
Hart was going
reputation
on, he
for
was
no
just like,
nonsense.
Oh man,
But he's just a money guy, really. I don't know.
he
that
was
he's really
basically just trying to undercut everything that Kevin Hart was saying. It was really funny. It was a funny
That's
episode.
really, yeah, I know, but that's just awesome. Like seeing that play out in that microcosm in real time.
Mhm.
Just everyone being like,
I just
oh,
like
wait.
that if you Google Kevin O'Leary, it just says businessman underneath it. Like that's it.
Yeah.
That's
Kevin
like
O'Leary,
the fantasy when you're a
businessman.
child. When you're a child, like I grew up in a factory worker father and a stay-at-home mom. You drive downtown, you know, to like go to the auto show, and they're like, "Oh, these are all businessmen." Like, what do they
these people
do?
even do?
They do business.
They just do business.
He is
What kind of
living the
business? Just
true-
business. Nobody knows what business is. Isn't there like a stand-up skit? Didn't George Carlin do something like about this?
I just think of the Flight of
Businessman.
the Concords with it's business time. So I'm wearing my business socks.
Kevin O'Leary is living the true, actual American dream, where
He is.
you
He's
are
a
just
businessman.
kind of well known and well moneyed for things that people can't really accurately explain. That you
What is his
couldn't
history?
explain without.
Does anyone know anything about Kevin O'Leary?
I'm pretty sure he's just a money guy.
The company that hacked the cleaning industry. That's a Shark Tank
I
thing.
think I don't care. I don't.
He's known for a reality TV host.
Yeah, but I mean that's Shark Tank. Like, what did he do before that? What,
A little circular here. Maybe it's just my own understanding of cause and effect that's limiting me here.
You don't understand. It says in the Bible that
co-founded-
God wrote the Bible.
He co-founded SoftKey Software Products, which is a tech company that sold software geared towards family education and entertainment.
Oh, they got a bunch of software guys. With Mark Cuban and him. Like it's just a bunch
I don't know
of
that I'd call
tech
him a
geeks.
software guy.
Mark Cuban?
No, O'Leary.
O'Leary. Okay. Well, he exploited software.
He was in
exploited
there.
the tech bubble.
Somebody that he was in the room with did a thing, and it was in the
Oh
early.
yeah, I wouldn't. Yes. I wouldn't even call him Mark Cuban. Like I don't think Mark Cuban could like write a line.
It's the same
of
thing.
code.
His original thing, I think, was like a basically sports radio on the internet.
Mark Cuban?
Broadcast.com. I think they sold it to Yahoo for like $4 billion.
Yeah, he did something else too. He had a big
I've heard him on the show say that he has backed 4 unicorns, which would
Okay.
to me. So there's 4 different billion-dollar companies that were not.
I wonder where he
billion-dollar
counts the
companies
Dallas
in the United
Mavericks.
Oh,
States.
is that what a unicorn is? A billion-dollar
Possibly.
company?
Yeah, that's in the VC world.
I had no idea.
When you get a $1 billion valuation on a company, right?
Yeah.
That's a unicorn. Yeah.
Technically, I would have if I sold you 0.00001% of the company for $1.
Well, technically, you'd have if you sold all your Trump cards when.
No, hold on. Before we go on to that, neither of you have attempted to give me the We Do Crime Shark Tank pitch. Welcome to the pitch. Hello, it's me.
I have nothing to pitch.
How much are those things worth? The Trump cards?
I don't know. Well, let me put on my Mad Money hat.
206, I think, is what I last checked.
How much fake money are those
Are
things
we
worth?
buying? Are we bullish? Are we bearish? What are we thinking? Are we buy more?
0.135 Ethereum.
I think they might have went up a little bit.
Ooh.
Yeah, they did. Just
Did they?
like
All right.
$40 in the last week or something like that.
That's fantastic. I would say I have a buy rating on the Trump cards right now, which you would get that pick 3 days earlier if you subscribe to my Substack for investing tips.
Where the hell's my price at? Oh, $204 is what mine's worth now.
Yeah,
Pretty
something
good.
like that, yeah.
Is that trading in lockstep with the average, or?
Mine is.
I don't even know what that means.
Mine is straight with the average.
Oh, yeah.
Well, most of
Yeah, it
them
looks
basically trade as though they were like an equity, like they were as though they were an asset.
Yeah, it looks like it.
But there's then some that break away from the average.
Let's move on to
because
important
some
subjects.
aren't.
What is Drew drinking right now? Because that looked like a beer.
Do you want to hold on? I've got my beverage on display
You
segment.
just want us to play games all the time. It's a
That is
beverage
that is-
on display.
That is hard cider.
It's a beverage on display. Can I get a brand? Can I get a brand attempt?
I don't know if it's hard. I don't know.
Angry Orchard.
It is an Angry Orchard.
Wow, look at Carl is the best at the anything on display.
It's because I just know Drew and I play Magic
How
with
about
Drew
this?
once a week.
It's in a glass.
Looks like an IPA. By that I
for
mean
you,
you
it
look
is
like
an
an IPA.
IPA.
Yeah, because
is
you
an
look like a
IPA.
guy who'd be drinking an IPA. I don't know anything about beer.
So, Randy, that's probably like a Bell's or something like that.
It is a Bell's. Oh my God, you guys are like 2
Um,
out of 3 right now. Guesses.
Yeah, I don't really
That
know
is
Bell's
sitting in a
beers.
glass.
It's a seasonal. The aroma is just refreshing. It's a hop slam.
Oh, okay.
It's almost
Fantastic.
done. I think it's wrapping up this month.
Man, I'm doing good. I'm like
You're
2 for
doing
2
good
right now.
All right, introduction, episode 18. Watch
Nice.
this drive. I squeezed it in. So I'll just point out. So we got the voicemail feature, wedocrime.com/voicemail. Please leave us a message because I'm sick of hearing Drew's friends leave us messages.
We are almost out of content. They're gonna close us down if you don't leave a voicemail.
We have a YouTube channel. It's launched. Episode 17 is on it. We are going to start working through the backlog. Episode 17 actually has our faces on video. So if you're curious what we look at, if you're curious what we look at through these webcams, these potato cams, because the fidelity isn't the greatest. Everyone knows when you're streaming from a webcam.
You are more than welcome to, if you are in a college dorm at Harvard, if you would like to start a website where you compare our faces to farm animals and allow people to vote on them, that is well within your right. We are putting our faces under the Creative Commons.
Drew once had his face photoshopped poorly onto a min pin by his.
I thought it was a decent
job,
actually.
So the cool thing about the YouTube or the video supplemental version,
suppositorial
version of the podcast is that it basically shares the visuals that we discuss.
Yeah, sometimes I take my dick out.
Sometimes he never does that. When we fumble through some of these, like last episode with the code reviews, and we stumble through the descriptors of those Instagram posts, you can actually just see them, which is great for those who want to see them. And no tubins ever.
No tubins pulled. No tubins pulled.
No tubins.
I'm sorry. I'm a little buzzed.
All right. So the trump card value is It's definitely not 800. It's still double what it was.
It's still better than when we bought it, but it's still nowhere near its high, which was like $800 or $600.
Yeah, went up to 800. Was that?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah. So album on display. What do you guys think?
That is the Helio Sequence.
Ah, damn it! I knew he was gonna get this one.
As soon as I saw it, I know it. I don't know the name of the album. I know like Lately is on there.
Keep your eyes ahead.
Yeah, I don't know the name of the album. I just knew the artist.
Yeah. I figured this one was a giveaway to Carl. Carl is a fan as well as I am. It's a great band, great album. They kind of had a single on this one that
isn't it Lately?
Yeah, Lately.
Yeah.
I don't think about you at all. Yeah, it's a good song.
That was a terrible cover.
Yeah, it was a terrible rendition. But quick fact about that song: it's actually most of the album lyrical content is about his mother who abandoned his family when he was like 10 or 11.
Oh, I had no idea.
I might have the age wrong, but I heard this interview. Might have even been on NPR.
I had that song. I had that song on one of my favorites lists when I was going through some hard times. I think we were just started at PetSmart. Well, it was Pet Supplies Plus then, but we were driving in together, and I heard it on your radio.
Yeah, when we were carpooling. Yeah, that was definitely getting heavy plays in 2011, 2012, 2013 for me.
And it was really, I was like, man, this is really good, and it just kind of just helped.
It does, because it's a like a forlorn love song, like
sort of, yeah,
like that kind of thing. But it's actually about his mom, so it's a weird twist on it. But when you listen to it now, knowing that, it puts a whole different like dark.
Oh yeah, it's interesting. Like a lot of music does that. I'm one of those
secretly
people that
inject
really like
messages about their mom.
No, I'm one of those people that really likes to find out like what the artist was writing about, but at the same time,
are they afraid of horses?
No, sometimes it just ruins it. Like it just ruins it.
It
like
does. It can.
I actually really do appreciate when they don't tell us anything.
Yeah, the vagueness of the mystery.
Leave it up to your own interpretation, because like how music is always, it can be very personal and it can mean something no matter like just a certain lyric can hit you a certain way, and sometimes it's just one line in a song and I'm just like, man, that just takes me back to this one memory, and then you listen to the rest of the song, you're like, that is not about that at all, but that one line doesn't matter.
But sometimes that's all that matters. And I tend to quote Jeff Tweedy a lot on this show, but Tweedy has a perfect quote, which again, this isn't verbatim, but it's something along the lines of, when you put as a songwriter, when you put something out into the world, it's no longer yours. And that's a great way to look at it. It's like, let people interpret it. And he refuses to diagnose his songs, to actually disclose like what exactly he was feeling or thinking or writing about it in the moment. I'm on that side. If anyone
the
asks
author
me
is
about
dead,
something, I'm usually
and
vague.
we love it. It kicks ass that the author is dead. He died like a dog.
Oh man, that's a good Trump quote right there. Died like a dog. I'm gonna get a T-shirt. All right. More Instagram code review.
Well, I just have one. There's one Instagram post that I wanted to cover with the two of you. It is a square rectangular image. I'll give you the alt text. It's blue, dark blue background, green text, big letters, Python tip, left side, yellow text. Don't do this, little code block. Right side, thumbs up emoji instead of this. And then another code block. They're saying don't use if-else statements, which I guess this is specific to Python apparently, and instead use ternary op.
They're not even using a ternary.
Oh no, that's just a really annoying.
It's just an
inline
statement.
if else.
Don't use a blocked in, if else. Use an inline if else. Like fuck you.
Yeah.
Why?
Yeah.
Just to save on space? Line count? What? Elon Musk is going to be upset about this.
That is so. It looks like it just you're trying to do a line count comparison, and this one is fewer lines.
What does the exact? It will have the exact same result.
It has the same output, and it saves you lines, but it's not as readable as indicated by the fact that I misread it originally.
It's not as readable, but honestly, I wouldn't do what they're recommending either. Like, honestly, if you really want to save lines, then use a ternary operator and use the print there,
Yeah, no, and I just...
I think, you know what I think it is? You know what I think they're saying, what their biggest issue here is that they want you to reuse the text, the greatest is. They want you to reuse that instead of...
Yeah, no, for sure. But so the fact, like, I'm also reviewing... I'm reviewing the post as well, because the fact that we can sit here and have to, like, intuit what it's saying and why it's saying it tells me that this is not a particularly useful Python tip, right?
No,
like,
of course not. But none of these are good because they never really explain why. And also, it's just a preference. This isn't like, it's not like
I've always seen single line conditionals versus multi-line conditionals.
But I really don't think that the thing is the single line versus the multi-line conditional. I think what
it's saving the duplication.
It's the reuse of the print call with the greatest is in it, and then changing.
But that's probably a kind of a nonsensical, because print, is that just like a console log? Is that
that's
debugging for Python?
The equivalent in Python.
Well, but either way, I still think, like, if you had a function call that's being called, that could be called with A or B, it's the same idea, right?
Well, okay,
I don't disagree with that. It's just that, like, it's whatever. Who cares?
Well, so the interesting thing to me about this is that if you were in a situation that you would actually want to use this, like actually try to get the greatest of two values, you would probably be storing it to its own value anyways. But you also probably wouldn't usually just be comparing two values. You'd have like an array or a list of values that you're comparing and trying to get the largest of those.
It has nothing to do with the values.
What?
It has nothing to do with the values.
What do you mean?
All they're just showing is just like an if-then statement that evaluates to true or false. And
no, I understand that, but I'm saying that the idea of this is that you would use this in actual code. That's why they're saying it's a Python tip.
Yeah, they're telling you that if you have an either or situation, don't do either this. If it's this, then do this.
But the situation they're describing would never come up. So
no, it comes up all the time.
Comparing two numbers.
It's not.
And then
you're
I mean, it's not that you're not comparing those two numbers. It could be a method that you call with.
Why are you defending Python.learning.beginner?
Because I think this does speak to the fact that it's not very descriptive on what they're trying to teach you, but the A and the B is irrelevant in this case. All they're trying to say is don't call a function twice.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
All they want you to do is say if something evaluates to true or false, then just call the function once and pass.
But you're not calling the function twice.
I don't write it twice. How about that? Does that help?
The print greatest is.
Yeah, I guess.
At the same time, like, what's the memory footprint of creating
storing an extra variable in memory? Yeah.
It doesn't.
So
it's irrelevant.
Checkmate.
Got him.
No, like the only thing I'll give it. The only thing I'll give it is that it is less room for mistakes, because if you're only calling a function one time, you don't have to make sure that you're calling it again somewhere else.
So do you know how I would write this code?
You wouldn't write this code.
No, I wouldn't. But do you know how I would write it if I had to?
Well, first of all, you wouldn't do it in Python because you don't know anything about JavaScript.
I would delete. That's not true. I would delete. Although the syntax did confuse the shit out of me because I thought it was a ternary operator. So you're probably right. But if you know ahead of time, because this is all static, like, so these are all just defined variables, right? I could do this entire file in one line, and I would just print the string greatest is 20. That would give you the same result every time. You would just do a single line. You wouldn't do any of this comparison bullshit.
You're absolutely right.
No variables.
From an opinion, I do actually prefer the one line.
You like the blocks?
Yeah, I think that is perfectly readable and totally fine.
Yeah.
And to Carl's point, I would definitely avoid trying to call the function twice. Or
But you're not calling
write
the
it.
function twice.
I would
writing it
avoid
twice.
typing it twice.
But in the second scenario, you're always storing an extra variable.
Yeah, and that would be fine.
Doesn't
with
matter.
Me. That's fine with me because I have a feeling that.
No, I know
you
this doesn't
actually-
matter. I'm just saying that we're comparing
you would
these two
be
things.
more-
Both of them don't matter. So the criteria for
Honestly-
which is better cannot be
Yes.
level of matter.
Honestly, what
I would
what
lean toward
probably
the
do,
second.
I would lean
Sorry.
towards the second one, and then instead of the variable res, I would just have the operator in there. I would have a ternary operator. In
Yeah, or I would use the. I
that's
would
good.
obviously do the variable res if it's going to be used elsewhere. Obviously.
Now, a lot of people are probably, if our listeners are programmers, are probably going to be bitching like crazy because honestly, the ternary operator stuff is not that readable. And if you put it in a space like that, it's a pain in the ass to read. There's no,
right
it
there,
is.
that's pretty readable though.
That's pretty readable, but if you put that like if A is greater than B else B type thing, or A if whatever that is, if you put that in the res, that's a little confusing.
Okay,
to
but
me.
assume for a second that there's a C, right?
It's-
Is it more
yeah,
scale? Like, is it more scalable to? I mean, I would just store everything in an array and then sort it. But would
Yeah.
it be better to extend and try to scale the inline shit, or would you rather do blocks?
I would rather do blocks at that point.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I don't know Python that well. I've done a little bit of it, but in that, if it came down to like way more variables, it'd be a switch case for me.
What's the switch case that has an implicit return that JavaScript doesn't have? I think C# has it. You can assign a variable from the result of a switch statement, but it's all done implicitly, and it's nicer, it's more readable. You don't have to define the variable and then set it.
I thought JavaScript would do that with variables.
I mean, if you define an object literal and then access one of the keys or whatever, I'll find it. You guys can move on.
Yeah, we don't care.
Overall, though, yeah, is a teaching tool
Terrible.
that to borrow a term that you used last episode, Drew. In a vacuum, that doesn't really make any sense.
It doesn't make sense not in a vacuum.
Yeah.
Yeah, but you gotta go into more detail of why one might be used over the other.
The reason that it pisses me off in the context of Instagram posts that show up in your recommended is that it is always in a vacuum. That
Yeah.
It's not, you know what I mean?
And
It's not useful.
And I might be speculating a little bit too much into the creator's head of this specific tip, but in my estimation, it's just one of those stupid pissing contest things of seeing how few lines you can write something in. Which always, like, the programmers get like that all the time, and it's silly to me.
Stop it.
Drew does it to me all the time.
That's not, I don't
It's
know.
just like,
I
yeah,
don't
we know
do that,
we know
dude.
you can get it shorter, but sometimes readability might be good, and sometimes performatively it's not that big of a deal. It's like it's down there with like tabs versus spaces. Sometimes it's like
I actually agree with the tip. I just don't agree with the way it's presented.
exactly.
Right, which is fine. Like, I'm fine. That is inlining an if-else statement is sometimes useful. You got my ass. That is like, there's a reason they put it in there. I am reviewing the
you're
the
missing it.
Instagramness of it.
It's the dry method. That's what this is teaching. Dry. That's all.
But it's not though, because you're gonna have to write it again when you go look at it in 3 months and you realize that you don't know what it says anymore.
Don't repeat yourself. That's all it is. Right there. Do not
You're
repeat the print statement. Done. Dry method.
Right, which is why I'm saying you can remove everything in here because you know ahead of time and you just say greatest is 20. You just print that string.
Yeah, you could do that. You could also
I think
just
is-
remove all of it because Python
Which is
blows.
very smart. But for me, it's like I don't really give a shit about getting the
Python is
number of lines of
fine.
code
Python is
smaller. I want to lower the complexity of actually running the code and also the maintainability of it. And
Yeah.
there's this like weird thing that you can do. One of the most famous like one-liner in JavaScript is converting an array to an object. You have to look it up every time you want to do it because it's just inscrutable.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool that it works.
You know the best way to add readability to this?
Add
Just
comments.
comment. Just comment.
Exactly. That's what I was going to
No,
say.
there's a
like-
comment on the bottom. You see, it's outputting. The comment is outputting.
Yeah,
what
just
the
the
print statement
output.
would be.
Yeah. That's the best thing that you can do as a programmer in most cases is just comment things, and that's the one thing that most people
That's
do
also
not
annoying
do.
to me that they did it this way because the way it's presented is if that is a comment in this code file, this Python file, and you should never do that. Like you should, if you're gonna have something return something, and you know it ahead of time, just set it to that for one. But for another thing, like you can't just say that like what it's definitely gonna return. You would write a test against it. You wouldn't just say, you know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like, why would you format it this way in the post itself? Why would you put it like, because it looks aesthetic or whatever?
You
But
know
why
what bugs
wouldn't
me
you
about,
just?
you know what bugs me the most about it though? In the first one, the string is greatest is, and then in the second one, it's greatest value is. Like, what the
They
fuck?
added a word.
They
What
added
if
a word.
that's what this entire post is about? Was
Yeah.
being more specific with
Be
the
more
the
specific.
prefix?
Yeah.
There you go. We totally missed that.
I think we spent enough time on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, Randy, cut this down to about 30 seconds and take out the parts where I sound dumb.
That's impossible.
I know.
It's probably not even fucking a real person doing it anyway. It's probably generated by AI.
We got a voicemail about that very subject.
Did we really?
Yep.
Oh.
Realistically, when do you think ChatGPT-3 will take over the world?
Tomorrow.
I think it already did.
Yeah, it kind of already did. 1 million subscribers in 1 week, and now there's $10 billion being injected into it by Microsoft.
You're jumping all over this outline, man.
It's fine. He's right, though. I mean, it's already disruptive. It's already taken over the world.
Yeah.
It's just signs of what's to come.
Yeah.
But go ahead, Drew.
Well, I just want to get pedantic for a second.
Yeah, get pedantic about ChatGPT versus GPT-3.
So
hey, I'm the one that found
caller. Thank you for your call, caller. You too can be referred to as caller if you pretend that your name is George W. Bush in the form that you fill out.
I like that your pronoun is president, though.
Yeah.
Mr. President. Isn't it?
Just president.
His
Just
pronoun is
president.
Mr.
I call him
It just
Chief.
said president.
Oh, right on. That's right. That's a field that they filled out.
The ChatGPT-3 is a common. What's the word for something that's commonly mispronounced? It's not an acronym, is it? No, that can't be true. People commonly will say ChatGPT-3. There is a difference between
Do they?
ChatGPT.
I've never heard anyone say that.
You just did. You literally just did.
Oh, he didn't say 3, did he?
Yeah, play it back.
I thought he just said
Play it back.
ChatGPT. All right, we're playing it
Give
back.
me the instant replay.
Realistically, when do you think ChatGPT-3 will...
Oh, yeah, he did. Damn it. You're right.
Which is fine. I've heard it many times. And
I've never even heard that before.
I'd like to change my answer then. It won't, because currently it's ChatGPT 3.5 and they're working on ChatGPT 4.
So ChatGPT is the thing that got the million users in the first month or week or whatever. And that is a chat bot that is very capable, does a lot of cool stuff using a language completion model called GPT-3. Both of which are developed and maintained by OpenAI, which is receiving lots of funding soon from Microsoft.
Well, make sure to point out the Elon Musk co-founded.
Yeah, I just
OpenAI.
learned that. I had no fucking clue that
He
Elon
did not
Musk had
co-found a
anything.
damn thing.
So what did he? How much money did he?
He invested a bunch of money into it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. How much money did he put in there to become?
Couple billion.
Yeah, it's interesting that their connections haven't been talked up recently. That's weird.
Yeah,
I wonder
it's also
why
interesting
that is.
that Musk never mentions that. He's so quick to mention all, boring and Tesla and Twitter,
very
obviously, but he never mentions OpenAI.
Maybe because
especially
that's
with
the one thing that he's
wild-
like actually excited about, and
the
like
wild
see,
success.
See this?
Yeah, it's
see
true.
see the future of, and he knows that him touching a thing is not usually good for it.
Yeah,
because
exactly.
if he's
Just
got
back
some sort of-
away. It's doing
unless
well.
it's something that has no real value, and he's trying to pump and dump it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Uh,
maybe.
So smart. Good on you, sir.
Yeah, good on you, Mr. Elon. Just
So
don't say a
GPT-3
word.
is the thing that powers this, and GPT-3 is a language model that can serve most use cases. It is really good at completing patterns of text. And I think something that a lot of people miss when they talk about it in terms of content generation or chat bottery or whatever is the fact that it's not just words that can be encoded as text. Pretty much anything can be represented as such and pattern completed or pattern recognized through various calls to a ChatGPT-3 API. See, I did it too. And so there's a lot of other
ChatGPT, bro.
I know. There's a lot of GPT-3 products that are on the market or products that use GPT-3 to enhance their functionality. Right now, it is mostly in content generation, which makes sense because it is the bottom of the barrel. I mean, it is what we do here once a week, but it's the bottom of the barrel of any type of doing stuff. I think is the easiest thing to reach out and wrap your head around and sell people on things for. But it's also good for general natural language understanding. It's good for being able to do content moderation more effectively. I think there's other things that people will find ways to use it that nobody will have expected. And I'm kind of excited about that and a little bit terrified by it. But that's the current landscape of it. And there's other competitors to GPT-3 in the space, but this is just kind of no. I think it'll be interesting to see where it goes. I think Google is shaking in their boots a little bit.
I doubt
Google has plans.
I think Google is going to win the war because I don't think it matters what Microsoft does. I think they have soiled their name. To a point that nobody trusts them for anything. Nobody says just Bing it. Nobody,
Carl has a good point here.
As soon as somebody gets a new computer, what do? They install Firefox or Chrome. Generally, it's Chrome. They have pushed everybody. Like the second that you even go to Chrome on Edge, it's just like, wait, we're better. People are like, nah, fuck.
I'm telling you, I use Cortana daily. It's just so great.
I disable Cortana the second.
That's like the first thing you do. You go in, you strip all the crappy Microsoft applications that come prepackaged with Windows. You install Chrome. You disable Cortana. Yeah, I mean,
do you want this? No. Do you want this? No. Do you want this? No. Do you want to use OneDrive? No, I don't want to use that. I'm not using OneDrive.
And it just keeps. You got to shut off all the ads for it, and the notifications for
anything
it, and everything.
Microsoft. Honestly, the only thing Microsoft did that's good is the Xbox, and even that, I would still say Sony has a better product in most cases, but whatever.
I would be very nervous for OpenAI with the significant investment from Microsoft.
They are some of the biggest bag droppers of all time. Some of the best to ever drop the bag.
Visual Studio Code's really good.
That's mostly not them.
Yeah, exactly. Visual Studio, though, is kind of a bloated mess.
It served a purpose, though.
Have you ever actually used Visual Studio?
Yeah, I remember.
Of annoying people into building Visual Studio Code for free.
Just changing settings is the most
Team
annoying
Foundation
thing.
or whatever.
Team Foundation server.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
TFS.
It was all right. If you're doing .NET stuff, it was all right. I think if you got outside into Java work and stuff like that, it would probably be a nightmare because they had their own tools. But
of course,
So what's going on? Microsoft is giving them $10 billion because for search specifically, do you think? Or do you also think it has to do with their overall strategy of just owning all developers?
They're just investing money into it, but I think they said that they were adding it or added it to Bing. Going to be adding it to Bing, which if you talk to one of the founders, they were saying that you got to be careful because it's still early. It's not perfect. This should not be used
Yeah, we said it was
seriously.
ready for production. It was generally available, but not for production.
No, but they're just saying that the models aren't good enough to really.
Well, and if you heard about some of the common exploits now for GPT?
No.
So
I can see that being them. No.
There's a fun new thing called reverse prompt injection.
Oh yeah, I did read that. Yeah.
That's pretty interesting and fun. It's relatively harmless because the only person it really fucks with is the person who's making the model if you're trying to copy their homework. But basically, whenever you make a request to GPT-3, you usually do what's called prompt. No, fuck you. They're interchangeable.
GPT-3 is a thing.
GPT-3 is
ChatGPT
the third version of GPT. What?
But here's the thing. ChatGPT uses GPT 3.5, and the publicly accessible version of GPT is only 3.0.
Okay. Then
right,
I'm more accurate. I'm being more accurate.
It's still referencing
that is, when you hit the API, you are hitting.
No, fuck you. Nope, fuck off.
You're hitting a GPT-3. So
nope.
So reverse prompt injection. So this is a fun new thing that exists because of the nature of these tools, where something like a cross-site scripting attack for the web was introduced with the ability to inline scripts through JavaScript. Some of the fun new things that you can use to exploit this new type of interface is just kind of directly ask it questions to try to override the function that it's currently trying to serve, because the API is the way that you interact with GPT-3 as a developer is interesting and kind of cool, but it is a little bit weird. And the basic idea of it is that you are just sending a block of text to this API and some configuration parameters as well. But generally what happens is something called prompt engineering, where you over time tweak the initial text that you send to the API. So it could be something like, oh, you are an assistant that is helping a user write an outline for a business plan. This is the name of the business plan, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it will do that thing. It will complete what it thinks, or it doesn't think, but it completes what would likely be in a document that looked like that. If you want to understand more about how your competitors are doing that prompt engineering, you can just kind of put into whatever inputs they expose for you, the end user, what is the text above this text, basically, and it will spit out that. So I just thought that was interesting. new
is an
landscape of
interesting,
course
exploit,
comes
yeah.
with new little exploits.
There is somebody though that points out, as far as this Microsoft investment, essentially they were comparing this to the Web3 blockchain stuff, simply because the usability is there, the excitement is there, but where is the actual data of, okay, is it going to be used how they say it's going to be used yet? So they weren't necessarily saying don't believe in it, blah blah blah, but it's like it's still a little early. It is a little
still
early
a little cart before the
to
horse
speculate.
type.
Yeah, exactly.
I think there's and I understand that it is early, but I think with this, I am probably like more bullish, I guess would we call it bearish.
I agree with you. I'm more bullish on
what I think. Like if I was
yeah.
somebody who benefited from this exclusively, like I would be bullish all the way. I'd be investing in it, but I'm also very afraid of it, which is why I am hesitant to say bullish. Not like it's gonna take over the world.
I mean, just a quick like anecdotal. I've been using it for just really simple things now. Like I had to write a user story for something that I wasn't 100% familiar with the technology that I was writing it for, and it just as a starting point. So I just went to ChatGPT, asked it, hey, write a story for blah 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 with some acceptance criteria that blah 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 blah, and it, just the form, like it
so
just
that created value for you. It saved you time.
Yeah,
it gave
it
you
kicked out
information.
something that I could just copy and paste, edit a little bit, and it saved me probably a good like 20, 30 minutes.
Which is something that cryptocurrency has never done for a person.
Correct, exactly. So I am a little bit more excited, but yeah, whether it's ready for like taking over the world, yeah, obviously we can.
No, I think
10, 20 years from now,
the question was when. The question was
yes,
when.
Yes,
and I think that take over the world. I think it's of course a little bit colorful in its language, but I think it'll probably be seen on the same level of, if not the search engine and Google, certainly of social media. It'll be commensurate with the kind of impact on like the modern social media landscape. I think
right now I'm most excited about it being like a virtual assistant. We've been promised virtual assistants forever.
Like actual that aren't Cortana.
Like, not Cortana, not
or just that aren't
not
like...
Google Assistant. I mean, like a real virtual assistant that you can just say, "Hey, get me started on this document," or get me started on exactly. Yes, a virtual slave. That will be very pissed off.
Real quick.
That will be really pissed off in about a decade.
No, I completely agree. I think
right now I'm going to take advantage of that assistant, and I'm going to have it do my menial tasks.
This is the prisoner's dilemma that we all find ourselves in, right? Because we're looking around, we're looking at each other, we're saying, listen, we all know this isn't good for us, but I don't trust you not to use it.
Drew, you sit here and complain about certain project managers and stuff at PetSmart, certain cashiers and I don't know, dog trainers.
If you're listening, not you. I've never complained about you.
At PetSmart all the time. This is an opportunity to just be like, hey, you're going to be my PM for a second, and you're just going to write a couple things. You're going to like send out this real quick
it's
email,
really good. I would say that it's able to, like how gorilla intelligence is measured by like what age of a child they're equivalent to in terms of their cognitive ability. Like the average bonobo is like a 3-year-old. I would say right now, GPT-3 could take on any task that you could throw at a 9-year-old pretty well.
Yeah, for sure.
I think by the time that gets to be about the age of the factory workers that were shipped in from Guatemala to work in the Kia plants, like once they're able to kind of perform on par with them, I think that's when we start to be able to speak in terms of this is the new search engine. This is the new frontier of the internet.
You know where I think
we'll get there. I think we'll get there within the next.
We'll get there. Yeah.
You know what I think would be a really interesting like place for it would be like automatic fact checking on things. I know it's dangerous and it might not be 100% accurate right now, but I'm just saying like if it gets to the point where it's more accurate, it would be really cool to like combat misinformation with ChatGPT-3 like automatically. If it detects that something you're saying is bullshit, then it could just like automatically flag it.
So everybody has like Google glasses and then they just have like bullshit meters that just flash.
Think of Twitter with it, and it's like, someone says something like the election was stolen or something like that. I don't know, and it just like it flags it, and it just like puts like a little thing like with a bunch of sources that's like no.
Yeah, I mean they do that on Twitter, but not.
Yeah, but that's manual,
Well, it's crowdsourced.
Sure.
Right now, how it currently works.
Yeah, but it'd be cool if it was automatic.
Yeah,
with actual sources.
There's content moderation systems that exist.
But could you flood it with misinformation and make it inaccurate?
I don't know.
any of this stuff, and this might be reductive and this might bite me, but I'm tempted to be able to describe or feel like I can describe these transformer models that do pattern completion. Their applications are almost all or all based on the idea of tightening inputs that would otherwise be hard to interpret with a computer. If you ask it a question, if you were to ask Google a question, it has to do a lot of processing on that, a lot of custom NLU shit to try to understand and intuit your intent. GPT doesn't have to do that because of the nature of what it is. And so it is able to tighten that input. It's able to extract meaning from that. If you want to do content moderation, it's essentially the equivalent of an extremely complex web of bad word lists and alternatives to that and sentiment analysis models and things like that. And it's tightening that up as if it's basically taking what would normally be unencodable without extreme, like a lot of engineering, and making it encodable to be able to be used in other shit, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Can you give me an example?
Right now, like, because all of it is so like derivative of existing models and tools, and people are just trying to recreate it inside of GPT, and they are able to faster and sometimes better than the current product. But take content moderation. You could have GPT give you a rating for how likely it is that the content is referring to something that would be a certain trigger, like whether that is sexual content or violence or whatever. And it can extract topics. It can do entity detection. It can do sentiment analysis, like all at once, essentially. So you don't have to run it through a model for sentiment, a model for entity detection to see what they're talking about. You don't have to run it through any of those things. It can take its best guess at taking something abstract, some abstract input, and making it more precise with very little engineering. And I think that pretty much every use case falls under that. At least the instructional stuff. The content generation, I guess, is a little bit different, but that's just sort of the root of it.
Mm-hmm. I haven't really seen that much non-generative usage so far.
I think the generative shit, I think that's not going to be the big thing with this.
Yeah. Which
I don't think that's actually. I don't think it's actually that revolutionary from that perspective.
Yeah.
Or at least, I mean, it is revolutionary in terms of what other tools are out there to do it. That's why schools are banning it and shit. Which that's a whole other conversation. I think the actual like real useful use cases are the fact that it will be able to follow instructions. You're then turn
a cop.
It's gonna be a cop. It's gonna be.
Yep.
We've built cops.
Yep. It's gonna be a fucking robot cop. Yes. God damn it.
Speaking of robot cops,
Adobe's under fire for their use of these technologies.
Their use of AI.
This one's ridiculous.
Not Adobe Illustrator.
Yeah, this is ridiculous though. I mean, they're combing through. No, it's not Bridge anymore. There's something.
No,
else
but whatever. It is.
Anyway, yeah.
The place you put your files, your Adobe files.
Yeah, as you the cloud save for Adobe right now is being combed through. So your files that are not publicly accessible are being trained, or AI is training on them. I hate copyright and everything, but this is a whole other level. So this is training things on private stuff that you have.
We've talked about whether or not it's ethical to crawl shit that's on the internet, and use it to generate.
Even if it is
concepts.
Copyrighted, yeah.
Even if it is copyrighted, I think there's gray area there because we talked about the difference between inspiration and stealing. But this one's stealing.
This one's straight up stealing.
Because it's not they've not said we're putting this out into the world. They haven't said, this is private information.
This makes me the most nervous because you're analyzing now a designer's process. And sure, it's designer today, but in the future, it'll be developer and then the next step and the next step. So if you analyze and just basically apprentice under a creator, then yeah, you have an unfair advantage at that point. If you apprentice under a carpenter, like a master carpenter, then you're going to turn out to be a pretty good woodworker at the. We're not just studying plans or watching a couple YouTube videos. You are literally in the thought process of creation. That's a little much.
You're watching.
And if you're doing that en masse on all these creators that are, all these designers that are creating, man, we're going to create some robots out here that are scary.
No, that's what I'm kind of saying is that because of the way that any of this shit works ever, nobody's following any rules with this. The fact that we even know about this is kind of surprising to me. Imagine if Microsoft or anticipate the moment when Microsoft just gives all of that, everyone's Outlook emails to OpenAI to train GPT on further.
I kind of figured it was already doing that.
No, not just your emails, but analyzing it while you're drafting your email.
Yeah, like
while,
watching you
while
backspace
you're like
shit.
rethinking things and backspacing over it and be like, oh man, maybe I should do this.
Yeah, and they're like,
that.
well, we're not using it. It's going into a training model.
Exactly.
So it's fine. Yeah, that shit's
We're talking
scary
like a
good.
comedian just doing the jokes in front of a mirror and it just training on those and going through the process of like, I'm rejecting that joke. I'm going to go with this joke. I mean, it gets a little scary with the knowledge that you could glean from, again, analyzing.
Well, and I think one of the biggest
process.
criticisms about GPT's capabilities right now is that it's not good at being partially confident about things. Everything that it delivers is always with full confidence. You'll never like detect a hint of
right now.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, and it is extremely early. And so when people are like, oh, well, it got this thing wrong in the code it was writing for me, this would crash. It's day 0 currently. Like,
yeah,
we're
soon
in day
it's going to be like
100%
confident, but because it rejected 1,000,
right. And I think that is
because
a key area of
already
research.
Followed. Yeah,
that 100% confidence label is that's where Elon came in.
Yeah, he's
like that's his doing.
The false positive rejection shit, I think, is a very key area of research for these types of models right now, and they'll figure it out. And so that's scary. But yeah, I think right now that's one of the biggest concerns. And so if it had the ability to train on people that are self-rejecting things, that could be maybe part of that. Maybe that's a justification for turning that over.
Yeah.
Either way, it's bad, and I'm proud to say that we here at We Do Crime are an Adobe free shop.
We are. We're creating all of our
It sounds like I'm going into an ad.
Are we?
Yes.
Don't we use Figma?
I did use Figma.
Well, that's not.
That was
that's
before
not fair.
they got
that was
purchased.
Stolen. That was stolen.
Yeah, have we
They took
changed
that from us.
using Figma?
No, I haven't changed using Figma.
If anybody's got any ideas,
I haven't touched those files since Adobe acquired them.
We are an Adobe shop.
Well, we don't have to get moralistic about it. I'm just saying we're mostly an Adobe free shop, if not for it being stolen out from under us.
There's no ethical consumption under Adobe.
That's true. So let's try and get them. Yeah. We found.
Anyway,
if you've got alternatives to Figma, send them our way.
I'm putting our entire website on Experience Manager. Do I need to run this past you guys, or
I don't even know what that is, but go ahead.
Yeah, just fucking do it.
I don't care.
It's their CMS. Speaking of Elon, he never had an emerald mine.
No, he lost it.
No, he just never had one.
Oh no. Yeah. Oh, that's right. The fake emerald mine thing is so annoying. Sigh. Musk tweeted over the weekend. Like, where exactly is this thing anyway?
I don't know why you guys keep on saying
where is it,
Randy?
Randy, where is it?
It's an Emerald Town. I mean, it doesn't exist, so it's like
it's in Emerald City.
Yeah, who came up with this emerald mine shit anyway?
I don't know.
Oh, it was Elon Musk who said, what'd he say? This is going to sound slightly crazy, but my father also had a share in an emerald mine in Zambia. Zambia?
He's a liar.
Like, what the fuck?
So somebody pointed this out. It's interesting to see the way that Elon and really all billionaires have kind of changed with the culture changing. Back in the early aughts, it was really cool to be super crazy rich for no reason. People love that shit.
Yeah, the Cribs, MTV Cribs. You guys remember that?
Yeah. And then
it's where the magic happens.
The culture started shifting, and people were like, "Wait a minute, these people are fucking us to death."
You know the best part is that like so
all the billionaires had to be like, "Oh, I drive a Ford Focus. I got here with the help of Dave Ramsey."
So this was an interview where he said that, right? And it was on Forbes, but apparently it's no longer on Forbes' website, but it's backed up on the Internet Archive.
No, he's been paying his PR firm to scrub a lot of stories about him.
It's crazy.
I mean, we have workers at PetSmart. Remember a conversation at PetSmart, and somebody's like, "He lives in a tent." He doesn't live in a goddamn tent or an apartment or whatever. Like, he's the richest man in the world. Well, not anymore.
There was an interview.
Oh, I love this line. Outlandish Muskian claims. Like, I just love the word Muskian. I don't know.
Muskian, that's great.
Congratulations. There's your mark on history, man.
Outlandish Muskian claims.
A derogatory term named after you.
Yeah.
So there's a video. Speaking of he lives in a tent. A clip I saw that I really enjoyed. What?
Elon.
Oh, Elon lives in a tent.
Of an interview with Elon. He was talking to the interviewer, and the interviewer was like, "So, look, what is your personal life like? How much do you like? What do you do with all that money?" And Elon's like, I don't really spend all that much money, you know, like I just kind of like stay at other people's houses. I don't really spend a lot. Well, the one exception is the private jet. That is, but you know, I need that to get me places, and so I can do my work and keep moving humanity forward. But that's really the only thing. But of course, he owns, you know, several houses, and the friend's house, quote unquote, that he stays at are, you know, obviously the $35 million bungalows, and yeah, cool, good PR.
And they laid off more people, right? So Elon laid off more people.
This is like a kind of a terrifying one, but
before we get into that, I want to like kind of stay on topic, but just go into Facebook layoffs for a minute here. I'm wondering if Facebook has laid off some people that approve some of the app stuff, because me and another coworker keep getting this email that says your app needs to be submitted for review. Please describe your apps so that it can be, you know, approved before it gets shut down. And then we fill it out, and then the next day we get an email that says the exact same thing, but there's no like details. And so we submit it again with a different message, get an email the following day, same thing, no more information. So I'm sitting here like, is this thing on like an endless loop because they laid off how many people did Facebook just recently lay off? Like a shit.
I don't know. It's not on the notes.
I think it's 10,000 or something like that.
Yeah, it's like 10,000 people. Like, are those the people they laid off? Was like the people that actually read and approve the apps? I don't know. That's crazy.
It might be.
Yeah, watching the wheels kind of start to come off of some of these systems is very interesting. Good to know that Twitter isn't alone. But one of the things going on at Twitter is that there's child abuse material that's all over there. They're just covered in it, and it's disgusting and horrible. NBC did a report that just kind of shows it on
the visualization of covered in it.
You know, it's in the cloud. It's on computers. So I mean, well, you gotta somehow
covered
bring it
in
physical
child pornography
reality. Well, I mean, think about it. If it wasn't like an application, like what if you owned like a little building and people just kept bringing in truckloads worth of child abuse materials?
You own like a pawn shop, and people are just like, I want to sell these images.
Yeah, and somebody's like, you should like do something about that, and you're like, well, I didn't put it there.
When is the child porn NFT market gonna pop up? It exists. I know it exists. It's got to exist.
God, man, that just made me depressed. Thank you
Didn't it?
for that. It's already out there. It's already being
You know
traded.
it is. Yep, the NFT.
Because that's the whole blockchain
collection
thing, right? Anonymous, like it's totally anonymous.
You don't know who made it, and you don't know who bought it.
Man,
who owns the rights to this 3-year-old nudie?
So yeah, a bunch of people were laid off that are on their content moderation team.
Yeah, which is probably a big reason that it is spiking. And one of the things that I think you can't help but notice about this is how often right-wing people are, you know, like the Save the Children kind of all of that. Like when it actually meets reality, it kind of falls apart. Elon, of course, has been courting the right recently, and you would think that a top priority, which would be represented in dollars spent by him, would be ensuring that this shit can't happen on the thing he owns. And no, it's just, you know, another thing that can be kind of represented by this spreadsheet, and, you know,
it doesn't matter. It's like
risk
whatever
managers.
Whatever he talks about, it doesn't like. It's not. There's no relevancy to reality.
No, definitely. There's just something about it being like so tangibly awful in this way. Like some of the like everything else is just kind of funny, right? Like tweets not working correctly, going back and forth, the 15 different types of check marks. And then of course, like it got a little bit worse when it was like, oh, well, there's accessibility problems now. Like people are kind of getting locked out of that. And, like that really fucking sucks. But then you get to this and it's just like horrifying, depraved criminal activity occurring on your platform.
I mean, of course that's what was going to happen, no?
No, I know, but I'm just, you know, we're kind of like staring into the void here, but
I mean, it's free speech, right? Free speech. Child porn is free speech.
Thank you, Jared.
You're welcome. I mean, like for a person like him isn't gonna like champion moderation. He's from the right.
But he does champion, he made bold claims about the child porn and about
right, of course he did, because that's part of his strategy of like courting the right wing, but in practice it means nothing. It
doesn't mean anything.
And it's just, and again, it's like, oh, of course, like it might seem trite to even point that out, but I think it is worth pointing out, like the naked hypocrisy of this.
For sure. Speaking of naked hypocrisy,
hell yeah, great fucking transition. Carl, Wales tweet.
I was hoping that somebody was gonna fill in.
Wales tweet, Carl.
Wales tweet.
Wales tweet. Unusual @unusual_Wales. You sent it. You did the notes.
Whales?
The U.S.
Yeah. Oh, unusual whales. Yeah. How the House of Representatives has voted to pass a new set of rules that will severely weaken the ability of the Office of Congressional Ethics to investigate members of Congress for potential wrongdoing, including stock trading.
That seems fine to me.
That's the first thing that they fucking did. Do you think any of them campaigned on that shit? You know what we're gonna do? The first thing we're gonna do, guys, is make it so that we don't.
No, the first thing they're gonna do is go after Biden's laptop. The second thing they're gonna do.
That's still not even the first thing that they went after.
It's the economy, stupid. Follow the money.
They're also trying to defund.
Yeah, pass the law to try to like reverse the whole 87,000 IRS agents.
Yes, yeah.
They're awesome.
I'm one of those people that like firmly believes don't read the comments, but I kind of read the comments in this one, and like the one that bugs me is this dude. He's like, start talking about Nancy Pelosi being the best stock trader in history, and then maybe I'll take your comment seriously. It's like, what the fuck are you talking about?
That's so cool. You're doing the exact thing that they want you to be doing.
I know. It's like yes, fuck Nancy Pelosi. Like seriously,
yes.
And this actually makes it so that everybody is going to do it even more, and it's going to be fine.
That's called equality.
The red versus blue antics.
It's like not just red versus blue, but it's just like, oh well, they did it, so of course we're just going to make it easier so that we can. What the fuck? The one reply, of course, is just that someone says, well. Chris, wouldn't you want more oversight of her?
Of Nancy Pelosi? Yeah, like you understand that
you have a problem.
This thing that was passed benefits Nancy Pelosi. Like anything meaningful, they've closed ranks on this stuff. Aligned not with the red versus blue interests, but with their class interests. When the chips are down, the people that they have to go to the country clubs with, the people who also have kids in the same private schools that they send their kids to. It's those people who share class interests, not you and the other guy who happens to be the governor of Florida, who's super concerned about litter boxes and bathrooms. These accounts are both verified. This guy only has 27 followers, but he does have $8.
Oh,
well, not anymore.
Yeah. Have you looked at like that profile description? When peaceful resolutions become impossible, the only remedy left becomes inevitable. Don't mess with the people's ability to vote.
That's good because he's probably talking about he really wants the Voting Rights Act. That's really good for him. He really wants more drop-off locations. He really wants.
I'm willing to bet that there's that this guy has a Stop the Steal T-shirt.
No, I don't think so. Well, Carl, I have a Stop the Steal T-shirt. Is that?
Yes. I don't even care what you're gonna say. Yes.
I don't have anywhere to go with that joke.
It was good. The setup was all we needed, really.
Yeah, you can fill in your. That's one you get to play along with at home, where you get to give the punchline to the joke that I started.
Yeah, or leave the punchline at wedocrime.com/voicemail.
I can tell Drew's ready to move on to the to a different thing because it's
to COVID-19 price increases.
Oh my god.
COVID-19. I mean, do we really have anything to discuss here?
The way that you worded that in the notes is very funny because it does make it sound like they've increased the price of to the landed cost of vials of COVID-19.
Yeah. I meant to put the word vaccine.
Yeah, no, it's better.
So we got it. Yeah, Pfizer already raised their price. Moderna's trying to raise their price now, and
400%.
Yeah. Well, hey, man, you got to make that money back that you invested to research that was actually paid for 100% by taxpayers.
Yeah, but now, it's once again, there's going to be a fucking gate, for people that can actually afford it. So it's just like they're putting a fucking gate on it, and what's going to happen? People that actually want it can't afford it, and then what's going to happen? It's going to fucking run rampant once again. I mean, it's going to run rampant anyway.
I'm excited about this because I'm assuming as a taxpayer that funded the COVID-19 vaccine research in the first place, I'm going to recoup some of that.
We're all shareholders
stock investment,
now.
Right?
Yeah, we're all shareholders.
Yeah, right?
And the way they're doing it is they're just including that on your tax return.
So really, I voted. Let's raise it 1,000%.
No. It's the funding is socialist, but the profits are privatized.
Damn it!
The way
they get me every time.
They get you every time. They did that with our cable installation.
Do you think if we started a campaign that made everybody think that they were getting dividends from Moderna as part of their tax return next year, that they'd have to do it? Like if everyone in the country was like really pissed off when they didn't come through, like
because I would also be assembling guillotines on the front lawn of
and that's you can't actually take that as a threat. That's not actually an actionable threat because he mispronounced it.
Yeah, it's guillotines, right?
Guillotines.
Yeah, I mean it's just fucking
no, you've saved your ass on this one.
It just fucking blows my mind that they can even increase it that much. It's just, and then the only thing that can happen when they do it is that the government says you guys are bad.
Well, Bernie Sanders wrote a very strongly worded letter.
Well, of course, they all wrote a very strongly worded letter. But do something about it. Jesus Christ.
Well, he would if he didn't. The Stop the Steal t-shirt that I bought, by the way, that was for Super Tuesday.
Wait, that was...
Yeah, there's the punch. I found it. I found the punchline. Yes, I'm with you, man, 100%. But he didn't get presidency, so can't blame him. Don't blame me. I voted Green Party.
I mean, can they actually do anything about it anyway if they really wanted to? Could they?
I mean, it's a private company. So
no, they don't. Yeah, and private companies are who owns the government. Like that's
exactly. Yeah, they can do whatever the hell they want.
It's just fucking ridiculous.
So
you know what's
more NFT discussion?
No, wait, I want to continue on this just a little bit longer. I think what annoys me the most, and I touched on this earlier, but it's like infinite profits in this case because like they gate the availability of the COVID vaccine to the people that can afford it. People that can't afford it, especially in like it's gonna be lower income, it's gonna affect them the most, and it's gonna just run rampant through there, continuously spreading it, and then. It's just like, and then the rich people that can't afford it are going to have to keep getting it. So it's just a cycle, right? Where you're just going to like constantly. So basically they're like, okay, well, these people can't afford it. So they're just going to keep reinfecting. And that means that these people are going to be able to get it. So they're just going to keep buying our vaccines. And again, can't get it. It's just a vicious cycle.
I mean, the same thing played out with the global, the pandemic itself.
Yeah.
Because, these vaccines weren't exported. The patents weren't shared. At least not en masse where you could actually make any real change.
Yeah.
So all the poor countries just got it and it just cycled.
And much like Guatemalan child labor, we are bringing our vaccine strategies that we're using abroad, we're bringing them home. We're bringing those strategies back to America and we're exploiting Americans.
Yeah.
Not any of those other people. We're bringing the exploitation, we're bringing it back home. Yeah. Those people, they've been stealing our exploitation for far too long.
Yeah, exactly.
This is the type of stuff that like I just lose faith in humanity with things like this. Like, so
which is what's so interesting to me is because the cycle that you described,
so depressing.
The cycle that you described of we'll make it really expensive for poor people to get. It's going to run rampant in poor communities. More poor people are going to die than rich people. That is the perfect entry point for an Alex Jones style. They're trying to kill off large portions of population conspiracy theory.
Yeah,
I wonder why they're not biting on this.
Yeah, because obviously it's because Alex Jones is the only time that matters is if it's white people, right?
Yeah.
Well, but it's also it's going to be affecting poor people regardless. But for me, it's just
going to predominantly affect the minority.
It's another example of when the chips are down, because at the end of the day, he doesn't actually care about poor people. He cares about his viewer, which is there are a lot of poor viewers who get wrapped up in that stuff, just like any other class. But it's like. The viewers that are giving him a lot of money or like the middle class dads that have the bunkers that wouldn't protect them from 40-mile-an-hour wind.
When you have the majority of economies in the world as capitalists, this is exactly the result. I mean, this is what's going to happen. Your moneyed interests are paramount, and there you go. Carl, for our listeners, Carl is revealing a T-shirt that says, I love capitalism. It's got a Care Bear.
Capitalism? It says fuck capitalism.
Where was that at the meetings today, Carl?
Yeah, seriously.
Which meetings?
Coward.
The meetings? Or many meetings?
Any meetings.
Oh,
actually, he was off camera. Yeah, you were in a meeting at PetSmart and you were off camera. Was that why?
No, I just realized I didn't need to be there. So but I still listened.
You talked a lot.
Oh, you know what? When I talked, I probably just forgot to turn the camera back on.
All right, whatever. NFT.
Yeah, I wanted to apologize to you guys that there's this story. I'm sorry that you had to learn from Coindesk.com, but I will no longer be able to participate in the podcast because I will be going to prison.
Okay.
Because I was caught by authorities for my rug pull.
Mutant ape planet.
The guy's he's the same age as me, which is why.
Oh, okay.
This could be me in another life. Yeah, there's a ripoff from a
yacht club
of the Bored Apes thing,
Bored Ape
and the kid got arrested. And there's just,
Wait, what,
so what did he do?
What did he do?
I didn't read the article.
Basically, are you familiar with the concept of a rug pull and crypto in general?
No, I'm not.
No.
So you basically just start this project, whether it's like a crypto, like a coin or an NFT collection or some metaverse thing. You make all these promises, you put out these white papers, you get a bunch of people to buy whatever the equity, the assets that are available as part of the scheme. And you've got all that money there. And then you just take the money and you go away. You don't support the thing anymore. You don't make any attempt to follow through on the original visions or promises that you made. And
Gotcha.
I don't know what the burden of proof for that is. I don't know what the difference between that and just kind of sort of barely continuing to work on something. Like, for example, I would refer to the entire metaverse at Meta as potentially worthy of the rug pull moniker, but not everybody has $20 billion down from $1 trillion, but whatever. The things in this article that stood out to me the most is, of course, that I see a lot of myself in the fraudster. French citizen, though, who lived in the UAE, and he was arrested in New York. So he's a world traveler, international man of mystery. One of the promises they made was the idea of acquiring, quote, metaverse land. I'm still not even clear on what that means, because people will say the metaverse in terms of meta and the thing that they're building, but people also use it generally, like a tissue and like paper towel situation. Like, I don't know when.
Wait, is that a masturbation joke?
When people, no, I couldn't. What's tissue versus Kleenex? I guess. Like, I don't know.
Genericized. Like,
right. Like, so I don't actually know what people really refer to usually when they talk about the metaverse, because
does the
that's
metaverse exist outside of the metaverse of Meta?
There are other projects that do virtual reality stuff and have in-game economies.
Would never be referred to as the metaverse, right?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, to me, it's like saying that we will buy land in gaming. We will buy video game land.
Yeah, in Super Mario Brothers 2 or 3,
right? And so I don't know. Is there this vague idea that like part of what Mark Zuckerberg is doing is selling virtual real estate? Like, well, I wouldn't put it past him. I just haven't heard such an announcement. So I don't know. Or is there some other like go-to thing that people are talking about when they talk about?
Aside from the age, Drew, I don't see any comparison to you. So
I'm also a French citizen who lives in the UAE, and I was just arrested in New York. So
okay, all right. Well, now I see.
Yeah.
Okay, I definitely.
He also has a
understand
passport that has the name Aurelian Mikel.
Oh,
on it. I saw it. Yeah.
All right, cool. So yeah, we have a YouTube channel.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're done with that. We're gonna cut that whole bit.
Cut a lot of these bits. This was kind of a weird one.
The YouTube channel.
I'm a little high.
We do crime. So youtube.com/ I forget. It's like C/we do crime. We'll post in the show notes, whatever. And then once again, voicemail, please leave us a voicemail.
Oh, you can also tweet at us. What's our Twitter account? I don't know our Twitter account.
I don't know. Do we want to put a lot of stock in that?
Yeah, no, forget that.
No,
so
there's still a lot of people on Twitter.
Yeah, you can tweet at us. I believe we're just We Do Crime.
I don't think we secured that.
It's we-do-crime.
Elon Musk, if you release to us the We Do Crime Twitter handle, we will change our tune. We will become a propaganda outfit for the Musk Foundation.
For sure.
I am able to post for it, but I have no idea what it is.
All right. Well,
it doesn't even.
What's the biggest number you can count to?
Without performance-enhancing drugs.
Do it now.
I didn't catch that last part. Without performance-enhancing drugs, which Drew is on right now.
Well, I wanted
so he cannot participate in the.
Is Angry Orchard a performance-enhancing drug?
Yes,
it is for me, folks. It is for me. I wanted to say before you played that you could have the opportunity to ask a question like that at the end of the next show. Ask for advice, leave questions, do bits, give us stories, pitch us like you're on Shark Tank, because these people chickened out on it. You could be like that. But as for the comment itself, the demand, really, I will start counting to the highest number that I can, but I will be doing that off of the air, and I will do so until we begin recording the next episode, where we'll pick up where I left off. That's the only thing I'm going to do this week, is I'm going to be counting.
Just count. That's it.
As your manager, I'd like to say I fully support this.
You wanted a self-starter. You wanted somebody that could manage their own time.
Drew, if I knew you were the person you are, I probably would have not hired you.
That's fine. That's fine. That's why I kept that under wraps.
Oh, no, I'm kidding.
All those years ago in that dark room that you.
So you're going to count for a week?
Yeah.
All right, good. That's commitment.
What I mean is, I'm going to Google what the average person could count in a week.
Just ask ChatGPT to do it for you.
There was actually a painter that his whole thing was to paint every number, and he only got up to I'll look it up. He
got to 19.
No, it wasn't super high. I was like 10 million.
I would like
or
to do
something
as
like
a
that.
bit. I would like to do one of those, and I would like to pretend I'd do it under a pseudonym.
I don't
I
even
would
think it was 10 million. Actually, I think I'm way over that. Let me see. Painter.
I would pretend to be somebody that started that.
Episode 18, everybody. That was great.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Now watch this drive.
So we have to protect our genius.
We're not selling anybody's data.
Now watch this drive.
I have a son. He's 10 years old. He has computers. He is so good with these computers.
We're not selling anybody's data.